All right, so the next one up for Steam Nexus we're going to be checking is Steel Artery, Train City Builder. Now, the premise of this game, why did the category... One second, let me fix on Twitch. It didn't switch my stuff over correctly. Steel Artery, Train City Builder, and good. All right, so the way we've got this one going is, so Steel Artery, Train City Builder, conceptually you are doing a city builder on the back of a train. Now, to give you an idea, it's more like the side-scrolling city builder, so you'd have, like, you know, this room's your engine room, this room's a room for people to sleep in, this room's your mess hall, like that kind of thing, and you build up. So if you kind of think of like I don't want to say Fallout Shelter, because that's a very specific slice, but, you know, you've got that kind of idea where you're building your rooms on top of each other on the back of the train and all that kind of stuff. It's also one of the games that you don't directly control your workers in any meaningful way. You kind of build the rooms and all that, and you hopefully set it up correctly where the workers cooperate with you. So with that said, let's go ahead and check out our settings, see what type of accessibility stuff we have, keeping in mind that this is a demo, and I would say probably a beta version. Now, granted, I am seeing down here that the version number we have here, I might be covering up, is 0.95.3, which would imply this is very close to release. But we'd see. Now, first of all, I didn't change anything, but it looks like it has automatically chosen to scale up the UI from its base to 2 times, which means it is recognizing based on my resolution that, you know, scale it up. It keeps 3 autosaves and that starts cleaning out the old ones. Multiple language support, so I appreciate that it has multiple language support. You know, I'm seeing like French, German, Spanish, Portuguese, Polish. I don't know these well enough to tell them apart. And all that kind of stuff. You got volume controls, and one thing I'm finding interesting is the controls between a lot of this stuff. Oh, here, I appreciate this. You can adjust how long there's gaps between songs. I appreciate that, because we make the comment in a lot of games where the music just checks out for 15-20 minutes. You're going, I'm listening to silence, please game. Disable engine and train moving sounds when time is accelerated. I can appreciate that, because when you're fast forward, you know, you have that. You mean Star Citizen version 4.7 is still alpha? Yeah, but that's a playtest. That's not a game. I'm teasing. Star Citizen kind of bunks 90% of how anything works. It is truly a unique little snowflake in every possible interpretation of that word. But yeah, so I like this. So it's effectively the same as like the gradual bar where you can drag it, but we can actually like increment on the exact amounts. I kind of appreciate that. It means we can get into the weird spot where I might want to be at like 0.5 or 1.5 and I can't land there, which I guess is a negative, but I can get behind this. Camera, you can have keyboard movement on it. Why would I not want keyboard movement on a camera? Edge scrolling I could see reasons to turn off, but not having keyboard movement? Whatever. You can adjust the speed of the camera movement. Keyboard settings, it doesn't appear to have recognized that I'm using... Actually, what settings am I in right now? Yeah, it hasn't recognized that I'm in the Dvorak layout. That happens a lot. But it would be cool for the developers. Keep in mind that not everyone uses QWERTY. So, you know, you can actually access your controls where you say the key in position, whatever. So if you're looking for like Q, that might be the key in position 3. And then on QWERTY, that would be Q. On Dvorak, it'd be its button. On Acerty, it'd be another button. You get the idea. And then ultimately in the UI, you translate it to WASD or whatever. But that all depends on your engine and all that kind of stuff. That's the whole thing. Star Citizen's not a game, it's a study in money extraction. Star Citizen is a whole experience. Alright, so that said, let's go ahead and start a brand new game. Alright, so the sandbox is not available in the demo, that's fair. And we got the campaign. Enter your train name. First rails. Tutorial enabled. I appreciate you can turn that off and on. And start a new game. And I have been warned the tutorial in this is a little hand-holding. You can't hear it. 1 second, you're not getting sound. Let me fix it. Hold up. No? It's set right. Why is my equalizer not showing sound for the game right now? I'm getting sound. 1 second. Let me go ahead and do that. You're not getting sound, even though in the Windows side I have set the device. So let's go here real fast. Settings, volume. So this doesn't give me the ability to choose the thing. Let's try this classic, where we close the game after we had set our sounds, and then we start the game again. Because for some reason, despite setting Windows to play through the correct channel... Okay, so we've got sound now. So you're able to hear the game now. It's quiet. But that's fine. Alright, new game. Campaign. Cursed Rails. Okay, we're good this time. The legendary Steelopolis train. The machinery of the Empire pulsed in unison with its engines. We apparently have pointy ears. It visited the greatest cities of the continent, winning the hearts of locals with celebration. And with power of its guns, binding the provinces with the iron will of the Empire. While the capital feasted, greed and folly consumed it from within. The great train was declared a burden and torn apart. With its disappearance, provinces quickly forgot their duty and turned to their own interests. The Empire effectively collapsed to the size of its capital. Rebuild the Steelopolis, restore the Empire's former glory. You will be supplied with all that remains. Your mission is near impossible, but you can't fail the Emperor. For neither you nor the Empire has any other choice left. Alright. You know, we couldn't do something other than a train? Welcome to Steel Artery, Train City Builder. You can't directly control the creatures. They are completely autonomous and make their own decisions. Their behavior may surprise or even frustrate you. We recommend completing the tutorial carefully. Complete the tasks on the top left of the screen. Close this window with the escape or right mouse button. Why is there a green arrow? Oh, interesting. Okay. So, before I click on that and be distracted by the arrow, accept the Emperor's first quest. On the politics panel, press Y. Open it with the clicking on the button or the bottom left of the screen. You can see your quest. At the start of the game, you can only interact with the Emperor, but in the future you'll have access to new factions that pursue their own interest, and you will decide whom to cooperate with. Accept the first quest from the Emperor. We will complete it together as part of the tutorial. That story is not what you expected from a train game. Or that politics is the core mechanic of the train game. Assemble the heap of scrap from the Emperor. Day 0, hour 10. That is a lot of text. Congratulations, Mayor. Now your problem is this wreck of rails. Scrounge something worthwhile from the junk that was scraped together through donations across the capital. Something missing? Not my concern. Figure it out yourself. How touching that people are so inspired by the revival of the Steelopolis. The Imperial Council convenes soon, and I need tangible results. Let those chatterboxes choke when they see your heap of metal in action. The city is crawling with layabouts who have the nerve to complain there's no work. Perfect. Plenty of desperate hands, ready to toil for pennies just to improve their miserable lot. Use them. Your task is to make this pile of metal move. Do it quickly, I will not tolerate failure. Duration, 10 days, 0 hour. Reputation, we'll get 100 reputation with the Emperor. Failure penalty, game over. Decline penalty, game over. Declined. You have failed the Emperor's mission. His agents have claimed your life. This is the end. Alright, so we're going to do that again. I had to. It's not my fault. Actually, Cursed Rails is gone. They declined. Ethical-ish Rails. Skip. Good run. I know, right? Okay. So hit escape, we go to the politics, accept the quest, and accept. Alright. So, get this off our screen. Abandoned. Game over. You're about to fall asleep when your toes start cramping really bad. That's no fun. Open the guide by pressing G. Find the game controls section and study it. The guide is also useful to go deeper. Look at the game mechanics. Check it out. Oh, please, no. 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 No, I don't want this style. Alright, it's okay to have... So this... Pro tip for game deving, like, actually not even game deving, product stuff in its general. It's totally fine to have a resource like this. It could even be desirable. Just telling the player, go read the guide, study it, get out of my face kind of thing. Not great. I understand you're going to walk me through it and all that, but basically being like, read the guide, no. No. Especially if you're going to preload it. It's different if you go into a situation like where we're starting out and, like, you know, death and all these things aren't applicable yet. We haven't hit them yet. If you went in and go, okay, cool, game controls. That's the only one available. Cool. But yeah, so it says, like, study it. Study it, yeah. So, like, you want me to read just this segment. Also, character formatting. So, like, doing stuff like this. Bold the different letters. Go through and try and give this, break it up. Wall of text. You are making something that is going to be agony. Agony for so many people, especially people who are, like, dyslexic, have various neurodivergent conditions and all that, where a completely unformatted wall of text is about as bad as you can get. So, you know, consider using bold for these character things. You know, consider using something other than just text. Maybe using tables and all that stuff. But I already look at this, and my immediate response to seeing this is wanting to be like, yep, Alt F4, we're done. Now, obviously, this looks like a game I'm going to enjoy, so we're going to go past this. But this is not how you teach a player to do things. You've got your tutorial, that's fine, but I genuinely suggest you literally just drop this and just tell people there is a guide there, not tell them to study it. Like, instead of that, over here on this screen, instead of that, put, you know, pressing ZXC can move camera as an option up here. But, oh, that is an immediate, hang on, wait a second. I've studied the controls. I did not, for the record. This guide is rough. Yeah, that guide is just like, hang on, wait a second. You are setting up yourself on the wrong foot. Complete a task too fast, miss the hints. Use previous mission button at this to review them. Okay. So it only goes back one task. And, like, I can't actually click back to it. I could just see what it said. So I like that you have the going back to the previous one as an option. But it almost feels like this should actually go back to the last task and not just give me, like, a synopsis of it. That's a weird choice. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just like, here's the step you took, and here's the step you could have taken, and this one's a little bit better. Does you hate when they put the new thing you haven't looked at markers on every single page of the guide? Yeah. Right, it's one of those things. I have viewed the previous mission. Let's get to know, and again, with this, you're running into the same thing, your wall of texting me with this. Like, let's see, let's get to know your creatures better. Beyond their independent minds, they also have their own wallets, needs, and characteristics. They seek employment, earn wages, spend money on services. It's important to watch the state of your creatures and provide them with jobs and ways to satisfy their needs. We don't want them to starve, suffer, or leave the train forever. Instead of going through this whole dialogue here, give me a task that's click on a creature and go, oh no, he needs a job. And then, you know, step forward in that process. Because you're wall of texting me. And this will cause you to have a lot of players to bounce. And this isn't even coming from the game dev side. This is from doing software development in general. Wall of text is the enemy. You will turn away people so fast. Also, how do I close? Okay, just click out of it. But yeah, so you could have like one person who's in good shape, one person's in bad shape, and be like, let's check on Scar. Hey, Scar's whatever. Oh, he's doing good. Hey, let's check on Gromtor. Oh no, Gromtor's not doing good. We gotta take care of that. And show, like, don't tell me, show me. I've studied the thing. I hate this. I've studied. Place a toilet blueprint in the marked area. Yeah, so if we're gonna be doing the toilet first, we can do exactly. Have one of your characters here needs to use the bathroom. Show me that character. Be like, oh no, they need to use the bathroom. We should build a bathroom. And like, step me through that. Let's see. Press the build in the bottom left corner of the screen. Select services. Select toilet. I've got so many little arrows around my mouse. And then place the blueprint inside the colored area and then press the left mouse button. Unpause the game by clicking on Speed 1 at top of the screen. Watch as a creature will take up their jobs. Carriers will deliver resources, and builders will construct the building. Was this made by a professional? The type who works at saying lots are required reading? Oh, I have no idea. You do run into that where people are used to doing like technical docs and all that. But even then, a good technical doc will also break up text to not be a wall of text. I'm not seeing money as... Oh, money's over here. Okay, that's fair. Creature's such a funny way to put it. Yeah, no, it is. Considering right now we've got, like... people, I assume that these are human. Yeah, these are just human. It just so happens to have... We have all, we have, like, one male orc and everyone else on here is female, which I think is just RNG. Okay, so pause. The toilet gives creatures a proper place to handle their hygiene needs. Rather than using the deck, filth on the ground drastically lowers everyone's happiness. Click on the building to show its details. They differ by building type. Click on the highlighted building. Pay attention to the services section. Some services also consume and produce resources. In this case, wastes and dirty water, which are stored in the building's local storage. To use a service, creatures spend their hard-earned money. In the Empire, every service costs money. Yes, even the toilet. Awful as that may seem, such is the Emperor's will. Don't worry, later you'll be able to set your own laws on the train, removing the fee for selected services, or raising them even higher. I was gonna say, removing the fee? Absolutely not. I have studied the toilet building. So you see that it can store money, dirty water, waste, and it produces dirty water and wastes, and it will decrease hygiene, increase, like, it'll handle toilet but causes hygiene problems, I guess. I don't know. It costs 6 coins to use it, and it's currently vacant. Build ladders in the marked area. We're going to need to build several floors, and ladders will let creatures move vertically. Okay, go to buildings, structure, ladder. For the Emperor, for the Emporium. Okay. Yeah, so the game itself, wise, I'm liking what I'm seeing. We're still very early on. I'm liking what I'm seeing. The tutorial is definitely got some difficulty. It's very wall of texty. And making a good tutorial is hard, just to be clear. For the Imperium? Nah, it's the Emporium. I'm going with what you said the first time. There's no going back. This is where we're at now. The gameplay loop is solid. The draw is a bit harsh. Yeah. It's definitely one of those ones. Like, so there's ways you can have, and this would actually, if you want a similar game that has a problem, when you play Vintage Story, Vintage Story isn't quite as bad as this, but it is one of those things where you're like, you go to do something, and then you have to like hit the button to like bring up the guide, and the guide is useful there, but there are times in Vintage Story where the guide is just this wall of text, and like, please, just, instead of trying to tell me what the steel smelter looks like in words, which is very hard to communicate, just show me a diagram. Just show me a diagram. Please. Just give me a quick diagram. You don't need to write out all of it in words. The diagram will work great. That's Strider Noise, that failed 40k reference. Hey, it happens. Just do better in the future, that's all. You're good, Strider. Alright. 3. Place block blueprints. Let's build...
Thank you, Kreesk, for subscribing for 45 months. Rualst hype, only another 3 more months for 4 years.
And thank you, Kreesk, for the tier 1 sub. That's 45 months you've been subbed to the channel. And yeah, quickly coming up on 4 years, which is a heckin' long time. I really do appreciate it. It means a whole heck of a lot not you continue to support that channel this long, so thank you so much for that. Alright, let's build a second floor. For this, we need a block, which can be a floor, ceiling, or wall. Without it, you can't place most new buildings. Press B, select structure, then select block. Okay? Structure, block. You want me to put it here. Wait until the blocks are built. Pay attention to the different blueprint colors. Hover the mouse over the blueprint to see details about its state. Blue means construction is possible, but some conditions are not yet met. In this case, it's because of holes in the cladding under these blueprints. Dark green means everything is fine, the building will be constructed, but no one is working on it yet. Green means someone is already working on it and the resources are being delivered. Okay. It's also very curious about having the tutorial quest and having it be, you know, timed. Now, granted, it could be one of those things that, like, getting it done, you know, maybe it takes, like, only, like, 12 in-game hours to actually finish the entire project. So it's fine that it's not immediate kind of thing. But it is a curiosity to be like, here's your tutorial, by the way, you're on a timer, get to work. I'm assuming also the different groups have different responsibilities, because I've noticed it's only been the orcs that have been building and hauling. So I'm assuming the humans have different things they do. Let's see. Build 2 frames in the marked area. Frames are the external side walls of the train. They're needed to fill holes in the cladding, since hanging buildings are forbidden. Frames are the only buildings that you can build other structures on, and they are actually built automatically when you build an empty space, i.e. where there are no frames. For example, if we demolish the toilet, no need to do that, you would find frames behind it. Okay, so we go here, structure, frame, do that. I do appreciate that the arrow always points me towards the thing I should be working on. Okay. I also do appreciate a game that lets you game over it immediately. The whole, if you reject the starting quest, you lose immediately. It's like, yes, sir. Howdy. Even though it serves no practical purpose, it's just always a fun laugh. Like the, I Love You, Colonel Sanders, a finger-looking good dating simulator. The whole where your alarm goes off to wake up in the morning, you can just choose to, like, snooze it. And if you do, you just lose immediately. Click the carrier station building. Time to understand how your employees work at buildings. This is important for building an efficient city. Click on the highlighted carrier station. Okay. Oh, that's so much text. In all the buildings, creatures work in shifts. They come to work at a specific time and leave after the shift ends. During the shift, they'll perform their tasks, in this case, delivering resources. When the shift ends, the creature gets a salary and coins from the building storage. The local storage holds all the resources in the buildings, including the coins and creature salaries. Sometimes creatures don't arrive on time or finish work after the shift ends. That's okay. Their salary equals the actual time worked. However, excessively long absences lead to an employee dismissals. Notice, the bar under the employee's name, it shows the creature started work and how much time is left until their work ends. Okay. Yeah, no, that's it's just the tutorial. The big thing I gotta say is don't wall of text. Instead of all of this, what I want you to do instead of all of this here, restrict yourself to 2 sentences per tile. That's all you get. And basically be like, hey, ignore this one. Your creatures will work in shifts, and they get paid for their shifts, and you're only charged what they actually work. Like that kind of thing. And if you're going to be like, oh, if they don't work long enough, they get dismissed. Show me. Make it happen. Have one of my people get dismissed. But, dear goodness. And I know some people are like, why is he whining so much about the text? This gives you, like, incredible fatigue, and this is a major accessibility foul. There are a lot of different things that this is a foul of, for neurodivergence and all that. I figured out how my employees and buildings works. I didn't really, because that's just too much text. From this moment on, because I didn't do anything, I read a book. For the record, when you just read something, you passively consume information. That's the lowest level of data retention you can have. Again, show me, don't tell me. From this moment on, choose where to build new buildings yourself. There'll be different sizes, so try to leave as little unoccupied space as possible. Take planning seriously. Space in the train is really very limited. It may seem difficult, but don't worry. With time, it'll get better and better. Don't forget to build ladders and blocks yourself as needed. I'll manage. Besides delivering construction materials, carriers also move resources between warehouses and the consuming buildings. We already have one carrier station, but we plan to expand, so we need another one. Remember, buildings need foundation, the deck, train deck, or blocks. Ladders can also serve as foundation. Okay, so I'm assuming, because you haven't actually told me what you want specifically, assuming you actually want that, you haven't told me where to find this either. So services, production, locomotion, services, farms, extraction, this carrier station. All right. Yeah, you can get by context that you need another one, but you should at least bold that we're going to need another one, or even better, have a separate build one. If it wasn't for the fact that I'm looking at this going, this is definitely one of those games that has a level of complexity where you could absolutely, like, if I skip it, I could absolutely get myself in that kind of position where, you know, they introduce a new mechanic and I just don't understand what's going on. And so then you get stuck. I would absolutely probably skip out of the tutorial. Because yeah, the game itself seems good. The tutorial is definitely in a rough spot. It's very verbose. It's wall of texty. I know it's probably harder to actually set up where it's like, okay, this is like the consequence is someone can get dismissed. Okay, cool. Show me. Okay, people go to work shift. Okay, show me. All right. All right. Review the hint for the newly built carrier station. Notice the red bar at the top of the building. It highlights the main issue, and its color indicates the problem. Alright, another accessibility flaw, immediately. Color is fine to use, not exclusively. So that thin little red line is going to get overlooked. This mouse over is fine. The mouse over is good. Put an icon. So instead of just having a red bar by itself, put like a little icon that looks like a person with a slash through it. Put like a little box with a slash through it. Use iconography as a way of communicating. When you use color exclusively, you have colorblind people. I think it's something like, 5-10% of people are red-green colorblind? So this, not going to be helpful. But the mouse over is fine. But yeah, that's a foul on the accessibility as well. Let's see. Hover the mouse over the building to see the hint, which it does tell us, so that's good there, but visibly, that does mean I'm going to have to go over there, because that, being just a colored bar, I could see overlooking that. Even with it being red and not colorblind, I could see having buildings on top of it and just missing the 1 pixel wide color bar. Like I said, put iconography on there. It shouldn't be hard, like 1 or 2 just top left corner, that kind of thing. Or right, doesn't matter. Since the building is brand new, there's no employees yet. We simply don't have enough creatures on the train. We'll need to fix that now. If the building is fine, no bar shows. I figured out how hints work. From time to time, new residents will arrive. To learn more about who can come, hover over the top panel and, look at the expected migrant section. You can also check how rich a region is in resources there. So we're in the region, deserted sandy beaches and endless ocean. One of the best places to live. Height above sea level is 20 meters. Humidity, precipitation, 498 millimeters per year. Temperature, 8 degrees Celsius. Danger, 1% chance to not return during an expedition per hour. Expected migrants, roughly 46 humans per day, 47 orcs per day. Explored resources deposit, expected extraction rate. I don't know what any of those icons mean, because this is based on a hover. I can't really see, so I'm going to have to go there. So that's gold ore, iron ore, that'd be coal. I don't know what the blue bottle. The blue bottle is water, clean water, and then you got dirty water that's also unlimited. I'm assuming that's fish. Yeah. So having it without the labels means it's hard for me to tell. That's not too bad because you'll learn them, but still. I've reviewed the region information. So that creatures can board the train, we need to build a gate in the maintenance section. It's very important that buildings, as besides the migration, that the gate is also needed for creatures to go outside for resources. Later, you'll likely need several gates to improve the in-train logistics, but more than that later. The gate can be built at any height as the ascent is carried using a special mechanism. Okay, so maintenance, gate. All right. Yeah, especially if devs, if you're getting close to the wrap thing, I just suggest someone like go over it from an accessibility perspective. Tone down the wall of text. Don't use colors exclusively to communicate. It's fine to have colors to communicate, but you need more than just colors. This is simply too small, regardless of colorblind. That's one pixel wide on there. Like I said, use iconography just down here. You know, if there's no one working at it, show a little no person. If it's empty of like resources, show a little box person. If it's like backed up where there's stuff in it, can't get rid of it, show like a little garbage can. Whatever you got to do. It's pretty standard stuff. You're ready to accept new passengers. Cities always have eager recruits, but you'll spend most of your time in the wilds, so don't expect this luxury everywhere. Press the train control panel or press T. Train control panel? Okay, down here. Or press T, find the migration section, and set the limits to 9 humans, 9 orcs. Which my assumption then is that means I won't get more than 9 humans, 9 orcs. Some buildings take quite a long time to construct, but that's okay. Several builders can work at once. To speed things up, hover over the existing construction station. Then press Q or the middle mouse button to copy the blueprint. Let's see. What did you say? Hover over the existing construction station. All right. Then press Q. We want to build that. Then we need to go here, structure, blocks. All right. Yeah, no, it's clearly they did like a quick pass, just had, you know, hey, developer go work on that, which is fair. But you know, you're at that point where it's like, nah, this isn't one you just hand off to a developer and say, go for it, man. This is definitely one where it's like, okay, no, you need either someone who specializes in communications. Obviously, if you're an indie developer working by yourself and yada yada, you have to put on that hat. So you got to learn. And it's very much a less is more from the verbosity. It's okay to breadcrumb. Like, to give you an idea, it's better to be like, you can push Q to do this. Once you've done this, you can do that. And like have all those separate menus. It can still be pretty annoying to go that route. But when you just go, slam, here's like 3 paragraphs, you're just going to have people bounce. And to be fair, people can just hide the tutorial and get out of it. But this does seem kind of like the game that has the level of complexity that realistically running without some kind of tutorial or guidance is going to be hard. Now, what it could be is you would have hints up here that's like, hey, you don't have an engine. Like your oxygen not included kind of warnings. Where it's like, your oxygen is too low, or your food is too low, or like that kind of thing. You could use those as well. But it does seem like you're going to need a tutorial or to read the guide. That's the one that got me, where it's like, you know, study the guide. It's all here. It's like, okay, that's fair that you wrote it up, and it's a good thing you wrote it up. But also, that is a lot of information to expect someone to read. Find the no-build zone. Select any blueprint for construction and look at the red zone in the sky that appears inside the green rectangle. Nothing can be built in the red zone. It marks the height limit of the current chassis type. We currently have only chassis 1 with a maximum building of 10 cells. I have found the red zone. I saw it earlier, so I'm not going to... I mean, sure. We'll go here and go maintenance. Boom. Yep, can't go up there. Be very careful on your game lexicon. Whenever you introduce a new word or thing, scrutinize it. Yeah, no, absolutely. Build a chassis 1. Height is limited, but we can expand infinitely left or right. Let's add some space. Locomotion section. While the chassis is being built, click it and review the building card. Notice how the bars fill when the carriers bring resources or builders assemble the structure, investing their labor. If you hover over the resource icon, you can read about the resource and, most importantly, where it is produced and used besides construction. All right, so locomotion, chassis, place. We've got our whole card. Yeah, it tells me that's a height limit, how much labor. I don't know what the brain icon is. Intellectual work generated by creatures performing intellectual tasks. The speed of creating the resource. Okay, so cool. Creative work. So we have gears, copper pipes, all that. Okay. And it shows them bringing stuff. It looks like it bring it in stacks of 25 and all that. Cool. All right. And if it seems like I'm being harsh, these are pain points that are going to hurt the developer when they release their game. I'm trying to give, like, constructive criticism. Like, I'm not going, the game's crap, because I don't think the game is crap. I think the game's got a cool idea and all that stuff going here. They're just potentially going to get themselves in a little bit of a tough spot where they're going to potentially harm their overall reception of the game, because the tutorial's the first thing that like 95% of players are going to do, and they're going to be slammed in the face with that wall of text, and it's not going to be well received. And the rest of the game could be absolutely amazing, but if the very first thing you do is you put a big hurdle in front of people, it's not going to go great. It's like when you play sandbox games, and there's a lot of times you'll have the sandbox game, and before you've learned anything about the game, they'll be like, you need to choose these settings, and those 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 settings. And you're like, I don't know what any of this is. That it's good to have like a tutorial where you have like your little mini map that you just play through and do just a little bit, and they introduce you to the concepts of the game, and then you make a sandbox run. Have I ruined the reception for you? Yeah, well, I mean, keep in mind, this is a demo. This is not fully released. You can't buy it yet. So this could very well be a placeholder, and that we're going to get something better along the lines. But it does feel like one of those things that once we get past the tutorial, it very well could be a very excellent game. But getting past the tutorial is certainly something. Build a treasury. The treasury is similar to the carrier station, but its employees only handle money movement. They take excess coins from the service revenue and bring missing ones if your building needs money for salary. Notice, your built stations, there are no coins in their storages. Without coins, workers won't be paid at the end of their shift. They'll quit, suffer a major morale hit, and refuse to work at that building for some time. Okay, and you said where was this? You didn't. Okay. Sure, so I'll just click on literally everything. Treasury. And it does seem like they work around the clock, so that's good news. One thing it'd be really good to also, I don't know, like the devs could be doing this, but generally speaking, as someone, whether you're making a product, software development, or a game or whatever, it is to get people who have never touched your thing before and just be like, sit down, play, and just kind of record them, see where they touch things, don't give them any information, don't give them any feedback, don't give them anything. Just be like, just play the game, and kind of, vocalize what you're doing, like what your thoughts are, that kind of thing. And that can help avoid a lot of these kind of problems. Because you have the person getting stuck, being confused, reading over this, and being like, getting frustrated and all that. And you'll very quickly figure out, oh, this is not working, gotta figure out a different way to approach it. Let's see. The development of the train will need to unlock technologies. Research centers and employees work on innovations. To invent something new, they invest their intellectual and creative labor. All of this fluff crap, you can take this whole giant paragraph, and all it needs to say is, to unlock new technologies, you need to invest research points. All the rest of that text there means nothing. All the rest of that text, you can just bin it. You got 8 words there. This whole thing can be 8 words. Press the research icon, press R to see the tech tree. Right now, you have no research points, but we'll unlock our first technology soon. Yeah, so even that, you could take that 8 words, and this one says, you could just have it be like, press R to open the research icon. You know, yeah, press R, press R to open research. You don't need the rest of the stuff there. And then you can sit there and go, you have no research points now, but you'll get them soon. And this bottom one doesn't. Okay, that's fine. That's fine down there. That there's more coming. Cannibalism? I'm sorry. Why is the front center thing in the middle of my screen before I do anything else? Cannibalism. Alright, okay. I see the kind of game we're doing here. What am I doing with this? What am I actually doing with this? To develop the train, you need to unlock new technologies, yada yada. Flavor test, fluff, fluff, fluff. We'll unlock stuff soon. Seems chaotic. It'll come out the future. But what am I doing with it? Like, what? You're not telling me to do anything. This is just text. And there's no advance the thing button. And we don't have research points. Okay, I have a tutorial. It's got goals for me. We finished everything that's currently going on. It tells me to open the research tree. I have no points to unlock anything. It literally tells me I don't have points to unlock anything. You can't click to continue. Where does... Oh, build a research center? Gotcha. So they've got... Okay. Yeah, so that's just confusing there, that you've got your title, but if I read the actual description... Yeah, so like I said, they probably just need to have the actual thing it wants you to do as, like, one word said, build research center here or something like that. Okay. I see. And we don't know where that is, because in this giant monstrosity of stuff here, they didn't tell me where to find that. There you are. It's also interesting that they've made it this dark that they felt they needed to add a glow effect. And well, it's nice to have, like, the aesthetics. I mean, I guess it's not that bad. Like, it's dark, you can't see what's happening down here. There may be a gameplay reason they have that. But if not, making everything that dark is going to get pretty old pretty fast. Like, outside the train being that dark is fine, but the area I'm having to focus on. Unless, again, there's a gameplay reason, like you'll have people stow away or whatever, and you have to, like, spot them, so you gotta, like, look around or whatever. We'll see. Yeah, but this one probably needs to be... All this fluff, get rid of it. All the fluff, get rid of it. I'm assuming we're building the research center to get research points to do our first research. I'm assuming that is the task we're approaching. So instead of all this fluff, tell me to build the research center because that gives me research points to unlock research. None of the rest of that needs to be there. You can have that all in about a sentence and a half. With a bullet point of my actual goal. And then when I unlock research points, then take me to the research tree and have me click on the research that you want me to do. Like, I do get the desire to want to explain what's being worked on, or like why you're doing stuff. There's purpose to that, and there is some need for that kind of stuff. But it's like, be careful about how you approach that. The research center is ready to take 9 employees. We're short on residents again. Decide how many to accept, but watch the numbers carefully. Overpopulation is just as dangerous as a labor shortage. Okay. I understand you've told that to me. So you're telling me to manage my population. We do not know how to manage food. We do not manage, like, if there's housing. We don't know any about these things. So you're telling me use the knowledge you have to avoid putting too many people on while not providing any of that knowledge. Like, I don't know. Do I have an appropriate amount of food? We haven't covered food yet. Is 1 toilet sufficient? I don't know. And part of that's going to be learning and figuring it out. But it is definitely the tutorial. I think someone just ran down and just tried to, like, figure it out as we went. I thought the gate is where we did this. Politics, map, guide, research, population, stats. Yeah, no, I'm not going to accuse him of, like, shopping it out to ChatGPT or anything. But, it's definitely one of those things that it definitely feels like someone just went and they said, what are the things we need to cover, wrote down some bullet points, and then tried to make a tutorial that covered the bullet points without thinking of the flow of the game necessarily. And then just, again, way too wordy, that kind of thing. Because it is very much, like, it's almost like for each step you want to go, what is the thing you want the player to do? You want me to build the research center. Cool. That is the key detail to get there. Don't bury the lead on that one. Have it where it's tracked in something that's plainly visible, so when you lose your place in the text, because it's going to happen because there's too much, it's just the one thing you want me to do down here. You can have where I could be like, do you want to learn more? And you can click on learn more and it'll take you there. But yeah, no, this is very, very wordy. And it's weirdly, while being very wordy, like the last step, earlier on they're saying you can find this here, you can find that there, and then they're just like, build the thing. You're like, I don't know where the thing is. And, you know, you can find it, but it's just a demonstration that the tutorial is definitely a pain point. Decide how many to accept, be careful, and again, we don't have the information to make an informed decision about this at all. I've already forgotten where that was hidden. Yeah, it's weird that the population migration controls is under train. Yeah, so I have no context at all of what's an okay amount because the game hasn't given me this stuff. The drinking barrel lets creatures satisfy their thing. So you want me to build a drinking barrel. It almost feels like maybe multiple people were involved in this, or I did it separate times, because earlier they had where it's like, build the thing, okay, you're going to build it, here's the details. And then suddenly they stopped that. The different heights are going to upset me. I think it's a good thing. It's by design. When I say that upsets me, that's good upset. Because that means planning and logistics. Not everyone in the game has all the talents, but yeah, it needs comps. Yeah, no, absolutely. That is a challenge whenever you're being an indie, is you have to wear many hats. Like, you have to be the graphic designer, you have to be the one making the music, you have to be the one making the coding on the back end, you have to deal with the finances, you have to deal with marketing, you have to deal with administration, you have to deal with contracting, you have to deal with, like, all the different stuff going on. They gotta keep swapping those hats on. And, you know, if you have the ability, you know, you go, this is something I'm not good at, or someone's better at, let me hand that off. But at the same time, there's also a thing, like, if you're going to be taking on a task yourself, it's going, okay, I'm taking this task on, I have got to train myself up for it. Let's see, the shower lets creatures satisfy their hygiene need. Poor hygiene increases the risk of disease, which can lead to reduced colony productivity and other unpleasant effects. So build a shower. So services, shower. Okay. Honestly, with some of these things, you could probably even have a step that says, so you need to, you have basic biological needs. Your people need to use the toilet, take a shower, drink water, eat food. Let's build the toilet, the shower, and the drinking barrel, and maybe food's more complicated. You could probably truncate that all into one step that has one line, like 1 or 2 sentences that explain what it is, and then just bullet point through the 4 things. Yeah, no, overall the games have been mostly good today. This game, I feel like could be good. It's just got the 2-ton gorilla of the really rough tutorial in between you and the game. At the same time, I feel like if I hit this hide tutorial button, there's going to be a step. Because we haven't built any type of housing. I haven't seen any type of housing. Have you checked out Bistro? You think that might be something else up your alley? I have not. Today's the first day I've done any Next Fest demos. The last couple years, I haven't done that many. Like, when Next Fest comes up, I'll cover, 2, 3, 4, 5 demos, and that's kind of about it. I used to do, literally 3-4 days, but it's kind of just the situation of trying to pick out the good ones in the rough. Just got rougher and rougher each year because of volume more than anything, and that Steam doesn't give us a lot of proper filtering stuff. Build an eatery. This is the place for meals. Lets creatures satisfy their hunger by buying food with their earnings. We have a small stock of fish in storage that we can use. Okay, so here, services, eatery. So you're only 2 tall, so let's put you up here because you fit nicely up here. And is that going to be in the right orientation for everyone to reach it? Probably not. A friend does the Dead's work of the game. It's quite nice. Gotcha. If I can have someone drop that in my game suggestions channel, I'd really appreciate it. Just so after stream, because of juggling all these game names right now, that I could just hop in and deal with that kind of stuff. But yeah, because this kind of gives me vibes of a Sim Tower, Vault Fallout Shelter kind of thing. But you're on this moving platform base and it's not microtransaction-y like Fallout Shelter and all that. Not artificially getting time gated and whatever. And so I like the idea. And the art assets look really good. It definitely looks like there's systems in here that have depth that are interesting. The music's been plenty fine. The backstory about this whole collapsing empire, and the empire's just fix my problems. I can get behind that as well, the very dystopianness of it. And it's there's a lot of good stuff there, and then we're gonna have different factions. So it seems like on the actual game aspects itself, there's been a lot of thought, a lot of care. It's just how I'm interfacing with the game the first time is the pain point. And sure, once I get past the tutorial, if the game ends up being good, you'd be cool. I figured the game out, we're great. But just the way the presentation is on this with the tutorial, that again, from the game dev side, that is your first customer interaction once they've bought your game. And they've got 2 hours to make that decision of whether or not they're refunding your game. And if all they've done in 2 hours has been slapped with a wall of text again and again and again, they're going to refund your game a lot more than you'd like. Yeah, no, the communications is the failure. And I know I'm being harsh on this, but I'm really hoping with that kind of stuff, we go there. All right, select fish recipe from the eatery. Without select a recipe, the building won't function. It doesn't know what to produce. This is shown at the purple indicator, a thin horizontal bar at the top of the building. Again, show a recipe icon so that we can do that. So, fish. Build a small cabin. Creatures rent cabin for money and rest in them to restore energy. Besides cabins, creatures can also sleep on the ground, but the consequences are harsh. So expand the sleeping capacity before it becomes a problem. Okay. So structure, where are we at? Services, small cabin. So small cabins are 2 wide. Build a couple of those there. They got a little bit of room here for something else. But yeah, no, it's definitely you've got people with a technical aptitude, but the communications thing. The entire game is reading text box. It needs to be clear and concise to give players the needed information. Yeah. And again, that's the tutorial that's the problem. All of our pain has been here. This window in the top left, and that the window tells me to look at that window. Once we're like all these menus, the menus are a little information dense at times, but I think that's fine with the type of game this is. That once you have a better idea of it, it won't be so bad. But it's strictly the tutorial needs a once over in the lens of being like, how much text can we eliminate almost? Like, set out a goal to reduce it by as much as possible. Hi.
Who's the most handsome boy in the whole wide world?
I wouldn't know the answer to that question.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. They're probably pretty handsome.
You're a shy boy. Yeah, I bet they are.
I love you.
I love you.
Yeah, no, and also the accessibility pass. Primarily, the only accessibility problems we've had are 2. The first one is, again, the wall of text. Again, when you start talking about, like, neurodivergence, dyslexia, which dyslexia qualifies as a type of neurodivergence. There's a lot of them. That wall of text is very hard to get through. It's not like a matter of focus or anything else. It's just very difficult to read. And for those who don't with stuff like dyslexia, everyone has some dyslexia tendencies. It's just, you could have just a tiny bit or a lot, and it's just once you hit like a certain threshold, you would be diagnosed as dyslexic. So everyone has stuff like minor instances of like word replacement where you're reading and you go, wait a second, and then have to like reread the sentence because the words kind of moved around. Also, they with sight issues, you don't have text to speech. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Some of these games are tricky with sight issues in general, even regardless of the text, but that still is a consideration again with accessibility. And then the other one is again using the 1 bar color, like the 1 pixel tall color on the top. I'd almost say don't even worry, like you can keep the color bar, you've already implemented it. But like I said, I just put like little flags on the building that's like a person with a no. Or like a box with a no, or you know, a little thing that looks like a taskbar with a no for the recipe, that kind of thing. You're nowhere near to dyslexic, and you've had to reread paragraphs of this tutorial multiple times. Oh, it's a lot. It is a lot of text. Review the colony status. For detailed information, press F to click on the statistics icon. You can filter different groups of creatures by race and financial status. Look at the creature needs in the diagram. Don't panic if you see yellow and red indicators. Each need has its own rhythm and change, so track them over time. You can also hover over the status name to understand the situation of some of your creatures. Check in regularly. Okay. Yeah, the tutorial is so confusing. You don't even know what's going on in the game other than get the train moving at all costs. I can kind of give you an idea. Yeah, so it's basically saying, like, you can go in here, we can filter that all. That's straightforward. Yeah, so I mean, if you really look at everything we've done so far, is we've provided the very basic needs for our people. The restrooms, the shower, the water, and the food, which we don't have a whole bunch of things. It's just like an eatery. Oh, and the sleeping area. So we just built those 5 buildings for those covered needs. They did have us expand on the construction carrier stuff. And they did have us build a research center. And the treasury. So we added, what, 1, 2, 3, like, 4, like, infrastructure things, and then 5 services is effectively what we've done. So all of this tutorial here that we have been reading that we're 30, 40 prompts in or more, and what we've built is about 10 buildings. You know, we've had to like bring new people on and stuff like that added new ones, but it's very verbose. So we reviewed that. Study the fishing research. So we can go here, fishing. The fisherman's house lets creatures go outside through the gate, catch fish. Once they've gathered enough, the employee returns the haul to their workplace. How much they gather depends on the employee's stats and the resource type, while the trip duration depends on the endurance. Buildings that send people outside only work when the train is stopped. That's fair. So what are you even under? Extraction? Yeah, that was a good guess. Why would you do this? Again, not actually something I'm upset about, but also I'm upset about it in the sense that it is a gameplay thing I have to consider, factor, work on, and that is going to require me to consider where I build. I guess another consideration is, do we have the option to move these? Not that I'm seeing here. There's nothing I'm seeing here. You have demolish. So it doesn't look like there's an option to move stuff. But yeah, so it's again, with the verbosity, it's just one of those things that they've front-loaded so much text. I kind of also wish, with the tutorial, that there is a key aspect in games about getting to the good part as fast as you can. And not even games, like any type of media, any type of anything. Get to the good part right away. You know, when you look at something like the original Star Wars, you get 2 seconds in and immediately there's spaceship battle. And, you know, gunfire and all that. And then it gets to the slow part of Luke being on the planet. You kind of want to do the same thing. Obviously, here I have no idea about combat or whatever. But there would be a thing where you can go in here and they don't want to get you set up with a fully built out train or something. But, like, get the train moving, just limping along a little bit. And then being like, hey, all your infrastructure's crap. Get it fixed. Like it can be like, you help deliver this to this spot. And then you have to like fix all the things, like rip out the broken engine and all that and build your own engine or whatever. I don't know where this game goes, so that's maybe a terrible idea based on the progression of the game. Which, you know, fair enough. But it is just kind of one of those things that, you know, you're front loading all this stuff here. And again, once you get past your first playthrough, none of this is a problem. Because you get your first playthrough and then you just go, oh, I'm starting, boom, 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 boom. But yeah, it's very hands-on and very lots of words. And I'd look into more aspects of the game and speak to them, but I can't. I have to get past the words so I can see it. Okay. Alright. Learn how the logistics work in the game. Any extracted or produced resource is first stored in the building's local storage. From there, carriers can take it directly to the place to use. But if there's an available warehouse, excess will be taken there. Employees will try to complete the nearest tasks first, so distant tasks may not get done for a very long time. If employees are constantly busy with something nearby. So it's important to not only know how many carrier stations you have, but also their location. That's fine. Building a warehouse. Now let's set up storage for a freshly caught fish. Note that you can't store anything in the starter resource pile. You can only take from it. I was about to say, like, why can't I just keep putting it there? So the idea is we're going to eventually run this thing out and then get rid of it. That's fair. Alright, so... Hey, Server Lord, how's it going? What would you be under? Extraction, structure, maintenance, warehouse. I was actually expecting to be quite a bit bigger than that. That is an unfortunate thing for a lot of reasons. Okay. And none of what I have built has anything to do with the train part of the train. Everything I built is just housing and all that, which is important. I'm also noticing our food is basically fully depleted. So that seems like it's probably bad. It also seems like, with what we've got, we're building these houses. We've got people renting it for the cash. We definitely want to provide. I'm going to be so salty with this game if we've already gotten ourselves screwed because I took too many people and we don't have the food for it. Just because of the fact that the game was like, hey, make sure you don't take too many people, in case you don't have the resources, while providing us no context to any of that. I'm gonna be pretty salty if we grab too many people because, again, like, I even made the comments, like, I have no idea about any of this. Like, it's giving me, like, I have none of the information I need to make an informed decision. Like, this is 100% guesswork on my side as the player. So if we got too many people and we're just gonna starve now, I'll be pretty unhappy about that. Like that felt like one where it's being like, oh yeah, make sure you don't take too many. If we were to take, 8 people, we probably wouldn't be able to feed them. So we should only take 3 more people. And then kind of leave it from there. I did appreciate that it seemed like the one human was running full speed for the bathroom, as opposed to just strolling. That they were like, I gotta go now. Alright, so I am noticing we can get ourselves in trouble here. As far as I can see, there isn't a prioritization system. Does the fisherman's hut tell you the amount of fish it produces? No. They have ADHD and they realize I had to pee. I can relate. They're like, oh, I gotta go now. Or you're hyper-focusing and you keep trying to put it off until, like, it really is truly urgent. Just double checking. I don't need to worry about any of these things right now. Okay. So I will say, of the, what are we at, 5 games we've played? Has your train moved yet? No. No, we're an hour and 20 minutes in. No stuff. Without a storage type, the warehouse will not work. Storage type. Click on the warehouse, choose the storage type. Regular warehouses can only store 1 resource type. But, like, later on we'll have advanced ones. So, fish. Review the resource panel. On the right side of the screen, you can see your resource stats. The line clean water 200 out of 0 -119 means that you currently have 200 water resources piles plus warehouses. 0 water can be stored in the warehouse. We have none yet. 119 water is spent in the last day. If you hover over the bar, you can learn some of the details. For example, we actually have more than 200 water because 381 is already inside some buildings. In our case, the shower and the drinking barrel. If you look at the fish, you'll see you already have a capacity to storage 5,000 units of fish. 5K means 5,000. Okay. That descriptor here versus what's over there was not helpful. That actually was way more confusing than what's over there. Research water extraction technology and get a water gatherer hut. Okay. There we go. Extraction, water gatherer. But yeah, no, we haven't built an engine, coal supply, steam storage, like nothing that imply locomotion. So far everything we're building is entirely about keeping our people alive, which is fair. Which is fair. But yeah, we are very front loaded on this tutorial and all that stuff. It almost feels like a better way of approaching this. Well, I don't think the building would be that slow if it wasn't for the fact that we're pausing and reading like 5 paragraphs, because there's a lot of pausing happen. Every time the message there changes, the game is pausing, and I'm spending 5-10 minutes just reading. Which definitely doesn't, I mean, it's more like 5 minutes. But, it does really make it drag this out a lot longer than you'd expect. But I honestly think the building's fine. And this is supposed to be some grand train that used to run by the Empire before it was shut down. Well, it was shut down and scrapped. That's the key thing, is they scrapped the whole thing. You know, took it for parts and all that. And then the Emperor's just like, well, there's the pile of debris. Get it done. Get it done or die. But I almost feel like I would rather the approach for the tutorial be they give you a lot more upfront resources, or pause your consumption of the resources at the beginning and get the train bit of the train working first. And then at that point either like snap it and be like, okay, you got your train built, now you need to deal with all these resources. Or, you know, again, like pad out your time a little bit for that. That basically from then you'll need to deal with it. So that you can get, like, again, the train part that would be kind of the thing to show you the game sort of thing. Even if it's one of those things that's like, you'll need fuel, so you can just, like, inch down the track, like, 1 mile, and then immediately you're out of fuel, and have to be like, okay, well, we gotta get stuff going. Or, like, you start taking the train a little ways, like, okay, we have all this food and all that. Like, make it scripted or whatever. Again, tutorial, make it its own thing if you have to. But I think that would be a much better thing, so you can kind of get the idea of how the game's core system works. Versus, like, right now, we are setting all the logistics for people, which is, again, is fair, but with how verbose and all that this has been, you know, we're already, like I said, coming up in 1 hour and 20 minutes. And we haven't done anything towards our supposed main objective of get the train running. We probably built 12 or 13 actual buildings now, but variety way less than that because I've been building extra rooms because I had the space and whatever. Oh, they're not going to build that. They also really need to not use color coding as their only way of teaching. Because me seeing a blue block, I'm not going to think of a blue block as meaning anything. I know it does, but that's not intuitive to me. Like, you could, again, with where I mentioned putting, like, the little flags in the corner, it's like, hey, you don't have a purse, you don't have storage. You can put, like, a little flag in the corner or over the whole thing to, like, mark that, you know, like, you have it and you have, like, there's not, like, a gap underneath it and it's got, like, a little exclamation mark or whatever. You know, whatever you got to do to, like, you know, convey, it's like, hey, this needs to be on structure. But yeah, iconography. Like, here's an example. It's really easy for me to overlook that red bar. That's because there's no employees. Which I'm assuming is not actually true. Well, actually, no, that might be true. Yeah, your shift tabs are. Never mind, that is true. I was actually thinking we were out of fish, not out of employees. But yeah, no, that's actually fair. It's a little surprising as many people as they have running around. But it very well could be we only have one person working there. And I already know we're going to have to do something with the waste. You've got money there. Gromtor Ruthless is absent. Shift not started yet. You start your shift at midnight. Alright. Select the clean water and dirty water extraction recipes for the water gatherer. Even on the ocean shore, there are often sources of fresh, clean water, but they are rare. We can also extract dirty water, as we will need a lot of that for the steam engine. Note, if employees extract several resources at once, the overall efficiency is lower than if they extracted only one resource. So tell them to extract both. Okay. We will need to store the extracted water and a few other resources. Build 4 more warehouses. Okay. One, 2, 3, 4. Because I'm assuming one will be clean water, one will be dirty water, one will probably be waste, and one will be food. Because we are making waste from the bathroom and from the kitchen from the way it looked. And it's going to have to go somewhere. I assume we don't want it to just immediately stop cooking the moment any food is made, because that doesn't let us get a buffer. Not unless it spoils, which it probably does. So we'd have to see about that. How are we doing on our overall starting resources? We burned through our food and we're getting through our water. We burned through half of our money. And you have no employees. So it looks like I'm going here again. Here actually. This definitely feels like I'll be pushing my employees over what I can handle. And have no way of even realizing it just because of everything going on. I've also noticed there's no, like, on here as far as I could tell, there's nowhere on the UI that it indicates, like, the number of unemployed people, the number of employed people, the number of people with housing, the number of people without housing, or anything like that. So let's see. So you missed most of the stream since you can't ignore the rest with Fever. How's tonight's demo's been? Mostly good. This has been the first demo that's been pretty rough. Let's see. Assign you to clean water. Assign you to dirty water. Assign a warehouse to coins. Yeah, because like this is telling us what we already know. All this text can be just straight up gone. So just go coins. And wastes. So it was wrong in regards to I thought food was going to be there, but we have the others. Build a cleaner station. Carriers don't handle dirty work. Cleaners do. Cleaners remove dirt from the ground and move waste and dirty water or bodies. And remove corpses from the ground. Okay. But yeah, so it's been mostly good. We tried Everything is Crabs. Or Everything is the Crab or whatever it is. We enjoyed that. That was like a roguelike game where you just go around, you smash stuff and all that stuff. That was pretty good. We did Above the Snow, which is sort of a, like, running a lodge, like a winter lodge in the Alpines tycoon sort of game with mob undertones. Like mafia mob undertones. That was pretty good. That one we needed a little bit more to get into the really meat of it. Like, we bounced after a while where I'm like, okay, I'll definitely come back to this. We played... There was another one in there that I'm blanking on. Oh, Rome, it's not Rome Reach. Not Rome Break. Why is my brain the way it is? Romestead, thank you, Romestead. And Romestead was probably, I would say Romestead is probably the game you could sink the most time in. It's very Core Keeper-esque, but instead of being underground and digging the walls and all that, it was above ground, like fallen Roman Empire with like magic and all that. That one's probably the one I think I'm going to be the most excited about to see where it goes, because I feel like there's the most opportunity there. Alright, so we need to build a cleaner station. This one I'm still excited to see what it ends up being, but the tutorial is tough. And I don't mean tough as in like it's a challenge in like the traditional sense. I mean it's tough as in like it is rough to get through. I wonder if they can climb a block or not. We haven't established that one way or the other. This is going to have to go on another train. There's not a good way for me to hook this thing up. Alright, well, let's get that started. So locomotion, chassis, plunk it down. Go like that. Go here. Maintenance. Cleaners thing. And when I say that the tutorial's been tough, is it is extremely wall of texty, and half the text doesn't really matter. It's information that tells you like broadly how things work, but it's kind of not necessary text. Like for example, the thing that told you basically you don't have research points, you build a research center to get research points to get research was like 3 paragraphs. And that's fine, but we have been getting hammered. Like, this is actually one of the most concise ones we've seen so far. Like, honestly, a lot of the previous mission things are far more in line with what I'd want the actual descriptor to be. Because we're in this one about an hour and a half. And we've probably built about 15 buildings now, I would guess. Maybe 16, 17. Of which maybe 9, 10 different varieties. And it's not like we've been having to like go out and get resources and all that. It's literally it telling me to build a thing, then building it, and then it literally telling me to build a thing and then building it. But it's, you know, taking like 5 minutes per text box because there's just 4 or 5 paragraphs to read. Alright, we're gonna speed up the game. Because at this point we're just falling behind a building. Because, honestly, it's got up to 10 times speed for the game speed, which is nice to see. Or they'll be like, don't get too many people and give you no context of anything. You're like, I don't know what too many people is. I don't have any information to make any type of informed decision, like how much does a person eat in a day? What is my rate of food? What does the yellow mean? No storage for byproducts, which is the dirty water. Yeah, which we actually do have storage for that. They just need to move it. But yeah, and then this has been still alright, which is a shame. This is actually one of the games I was looking forward to the most. And like I said, I do think it's a good game in here. It's just, you know, you gotta slog through the tutorial to find it. Oh, for a moment I thought this was casting shadows from my mouse's light. Okay. Now, granted, I really like the tone of this game. I like the idea of this game. Like, the game part I'm mostly liking. I like the fact that we can actually see our resources and the daily trending of them right from the glance. That's one thing that kind of irks me on a lot of games that have lots of resources, is they will bury them into UI where you have to like go down to this panel just to find them and all that. And that can be very frustrating when you're like, I need like, this is information I need to be able to look at a glance. So I'm very happy that's not been a problem in this game. Because I've had a lot of those lately where it's like, okay, you know, you're showing me my wood, my stone, and my planks. Okay, but like to find my food, I have to go into like a nested screen. It's like, well, I care about the food more. Everyone dies if I don't have the food. But I've seen a decent amount of that lately. Is the colony doing well? Checking the colony status. Is everything sufficient? Maybe you need additional cabins, or showers, or something. Sick, sleep-deprived, and hungry employees work worse and skip work entirely. So build the needed things. From now on, their well-being is in your hands. It seems fun. I do think there's a good game in there, Zelyard. Right now we are finding the tutorial to be exceptionally rough. Where were your needs again? Man, I don't remember. Energy. Build a miner house and start extracting coal and iron. Okay. I'm also learning to stop bothering reading half of what it says. Oh, so I gotta research. Figured you're gonna be big. You don't need more warehouses. I'm half expecting to run out of materials before we get the engine built and get stuck. So you just got offered GX. Did you say something about built-in VPN? Yeah, there's a built-in VPN. If you open up a new tab in Opera GX, where it has that front screen, there'll be like a little toggle to turn on the VPN. I believe there's another place you can turn it on that's like up by the address bar, but if you make a new tab, there's a little VPN toggle on and off right there. Yeah, it's like building a city on a train. It feels kind of like we're playing RimWorld Odyssey so far as what we have to set up to take, like, to have a fully self-sustaining ship with people on it. But, like, it's focused on walking us through in the most verbose way possible each and every room. But unlike RimWorld, where it's like you only need 2 or 3 rooms, this one has, like, 20 different rooms you need. And so it's like you want to get to the part where you fly the ship or whatever, and you're just having to climb over the hurdles. So we only need iron. To create this, you'll first need to mine iron, then smelt it into ingots. Then, and only then, the forged parts are needed. So iron and coal. Build the industrial furnace, which we're going to have to research. Of course, they're huge. Wonder if we can have platforms cross between the... Yeah, I guess you can. Okay, so even though it's a train and you'd want to pivot on your different cars in real life, you know, hand-wavy, video game magic, we can have it just go across. So somewhere around here I am going to need to have another ladder. Like, just have like a ladder that goes the whole way up and let everyone go across, or over here, something like that. Probably put a ladder here, find a little building that needs to go there, that kind of thing. I'm just waiting so much to run out of some material, not have what I need to do the material, and kind of like fail the tutorial. Just because the way it's implemented. I'm waiting for it to happen. Build an engine 1 in a driver's cabin. Okay, so locomotion engine 1. Alright, so it's going to be another chassis. An engine 1. Oh! Hang on, 1 second. Hold up. Okay, hang on. Yep, Zelyard, exactly. All right. Yeah, it looks like it's going to have to put there. I do wonder if that means... Well, I mean, I guess the driver's cabin has to be on the front, but the engines, we can put them anywhere, I think. The artwork's pretty cool. Oh, yeah, no, the pixel art is great. And I'm assuming it's one of those things that we will have, let's see. The driver's car lets you control the train. Note that if at some point there are no employees in the driver's car, the train will become uncontrollable. The engine produces power that lets the train move, but it's voracious and consumes coal and dirty water. So you better always have reserve these resources just in case. You don't want to get stuck somewhere. The last time you had a free VPN, it's because they did it like a torrent thing, where you would upload it to other places downloading. It was fair, but your internet was cruddy at the time. Gotcha. And apparently low on staff yet again. I just want to get the train moving to see what we even see with that. Yeah, that's exactly what I was expecting, Moriarty. Is I was just kind of like, with the way they've done this tutorial, I just keep waiting to be like, well, you're out of metal. Too bad. Sucks to be you. And like have to shred it and have a big mess. It looks like you do have enough. Alright, assemble the heat scrap. Complete the Emperor's quest to accept a new one. So politics, do this. Complete the quest. New. Show what this heap of metal can do, the Emperor. I'm told you assembled something resembling a train. Well, not bad. You should have seen the long faces on the skeptics. Go on, then. Fire up this contraption and reach at least the nearest city. My people will meet you there and deliver further instruction. I trust you won't fall apart along the way. I'd hate to send my tractors after the foolish head of yours. Failure or declining is a game over. Alright, we'll just go ahead and accept. So now I pull up our map. That is certainly a map. Open the map panel by clicking on M. On the global map, you'll choose where you want your route to go. To do this, click on the route line. A summary will appear showing the estimated arrival time, fuel costs on the bottom right corner of the map. Show the legend button to see what resources available along your route. Plan your stops wisely. You don't want to run out of fuel mid-journey. Build a route with the train using the build route. Build a route using the train using the build route. So expected fuel... Tides Jewel. Is Tides Jewel the nearest place? Set city as a route. I'm so confused. Okay. I don't know what's happening here, and I'm a little worried because this whole thing is highlighted green the whole way over. And I told it to go back here. It says that's the route. Let's change the route to this. Okay, so now it's marked that. It's bothering me so much, that whole thing. Next region, Tiage. Destination Tides Jewel is 2,686 kilometers away. We're right here. Okay, there we go. Okay, I think that's... Well, no. Build route. Set as route. Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Do I need to build an engine on both sides of the train? Route sequential. Go the whole way there, but that's I'm not sure is how I clear the route and say don't do that. Go this way. Is that where you're already at, or is it indicating you want to leave? Is this indicating? It's sending you all the way around to half the highlight city was half the distance. Yeah, that's the thing. I get that it wants to send me there, and I understand like you're on a train track, you can't just turn it around. Is it a thing that I could go over here and build an engine facing the other way? Let's not actually commit to it. I don't think there's actually a I don't think there's actually a button for switching that back and forth. Okay, so it looks like I can only build that one direction as far as I can tell. Because that's how you turn around if we're just about to build it. We just build the engine pointing the other direction. So that's a little confusing. Like, and I understand in real life, I guess we're not going to Tides Jewel, because it feels like the Tides Jewel right there would be the, It's also so weird that's like... Okay, just get coal, I guess. Could turn off farming iron. Probably. Give me a second, though, because I think the actual problem is I don't think I have a warehouse for coal. So we need to get to where we store a lot of... Also there, because they've given me almost 30 days to go in the next part of the route. So I think the idea is we just need to sit here and work on getting stuff. I keep finding myself with no employees constantly. Can I tell you to stop working? I guess we just take on more people that I probably can't afford. Because I can't find the button to stop them from working. Yeah, so I like the idea of the game. The game has got a lot of things that need a little love. Like, I could use somewhere on here on the UI, how many people do I have that are basically unemployed? I could use on here the ability to potentially... I mean, I guess you could pause it by doing that. I'd rather just have a pause button on the top, though. Because with this, I can collect 3,000 copper, or 3,000 coal. And just, well, 1,000 something. It's got a lot of things that just took time and random clicking to figure out. Yeah, no, it's definitely one of those games that looks like it's got a lot in there that is going to be nice when it's ready. The tutorial is definitely rough with how much text. It's just like straight up wall of text with the whole thing. That's something they really should give some love. But yeah, no, it definitely feels like, and I like, instead of these color indicators, I want like little flags here that say what's actually going on. I know you can mouse over it, but for considerations with people who are colorblind and all that, a colored stripe doesn't do anything for it. And we got Dread of 60 streams reached. Catching the last 60 streams out, missing a single one. Almost 2 months. Yep, you're coming up on it. So yeah, like, I think there's a lot of potential for this game. It's just a matter of, like, right this moment in its version, there is definitely, like, a lot of hurdles to climb to figure it out. And in a lot of ways, not in the good kind of hurdles. Like, you know, oh, how do I figure out this system, that kind of thing. So much as just, like, things that are just kind of not intuitive. So stop pulling up that. You just go and get coal. Yeah, some red arrows or circles indicating where to point, click, build a route would have been helpful. Maybe also saved us some time explanation. I know it's more difficult to implement, but considering that these, it should be feasible. Yeah, no, it's kind of the exact same thing. There's been we only went through like 1 or 2 of the prompts, as like the research one's the one I really dug into, where it's about the same length as this one, maybe a little longer. And ultimately, when you looked at the whole thing, it's like you could concisely have said, you know, you currently have no research points. You use research points to unlock research. You get research points using the research center. Build the research center. Like, kind of just like 2 sentences, but it was this whole big like 3-paragraph thing. And even then, I'm not entirely sure what it's trying to communicate. Because there was a whole lot of extra fluff onto it. None of which was relevant to actually getting the research done. I shouldn't say that. That's being a bit too harsh. But, like, there was just kind of a whole lot of words that just weren't part of it, weren't important, weren't relevant. They were a whole lot of extra. I kind of wish I could prioritize you. Oh, right. Okay, so we're actually out of supplies. Yeah, no, it is a very, very text-heavy tutorial. So we're actually out of supplies for building the warehouse. So I am going to go with the to heck with it. I'm kind of getting over this. Where's my drive button? Freeze all extraction buildings. Get in here. Yeah, so I got 2 people who are outside right now. If you'd so kindly get on the train. There we go. No available engines. Because I suddenly have no employees at the engines. Why are you not at the engines? It is your shift. There's money. Tutorial completed successfully. You have learned the basics of the game. Now you can develop the colony yourself, researching new technologies, visiting the regions, completing quests. Don't worry about if things go wrong first. Running an independent city on the rails is no small feat. Continue the game. Alright, well, honestly... Oh, the train is moving. I didn't tell it to drive yet. It's fine, whatever. At least I didn't think I told it to drive. For the record, we don't actually have the coal to get there. Okay. We were feeding it steam and water and all that stuff. Yep, now they got different biomes you cut through and all that. Moving region to coast. Please wait. Gotcha. Okay, so there's like a cut to the background. Yeah, so I like the aesthetics of this. I like the building. I like... Oh, hi.
Hi. Is that like a city on a train?
It is.
That's cool.
It is.
Enjoy building your city on a train. I'm going to bed, guys.
Okay, you sleep well.
Okay, you sleep well.
Never.
Eventually.
I love you.
I love you more. You're the best husband ever of all time.
The tutorial took nearly 3 hours? No, that's not true. It took 2 hours. I actually have how long the video's been up on the YouTube side since we started playing, so it's been just shy of 2 hours. But yeah, no, that's the tutorial is definitely rough. So we've run out of coal. At this point, we would go into our controls here. Unfreeze all extraction buildings. Freeze all extraction buildings. I was mistaken. I thought we were out of coal. We should be out of coal. Okay. But regardless, so I like the idea of the game. We did get through the tutorial. We did get the train moving and all that. And so again, conceptually, I like the game. For what it's worth. And I think they got a lot of good mechanics here. There's a lot of good stuff there. But there's definitely a lot of pain points here. The tutorial itself being one of the main ones. As far as like these stripes on here, I think those could definitely. Other than tutorial, is there any particular reason to move the train? Like, was it for a new resource? Oh, because we get a game over in 22 days. The Emperor has demanded we move the train. They also implied that there's limited resources in certain areas, and some areas will have other resources, so you have to move to get the resources. We'll end up needing to trade, we'll end up needing to get money and all that kind of stuff. So you effectively are going to be a trade-based, well, trade and extraction-based city that has to move around to get the stuff. That's the implication I got, is your progression will require it. But yeah, so with that said, I'm pretty mixed on it as it currently is. I think the idea for the game is excellent. I think there's a lot of really good systems in here. There's definitely some accessibility problems, like we have all these stripes here. Again, if you're colorblind, they don't mean anything. And if you don't happen to arbitrarily know what the lines mean, they're fine. During the night, they stand out really well. But like, for example, the red bar, when it was during the day, kind of blended in a little bit. I would much rather, instead of they using these like bar things on them, that instead they just put like a little flag. They can keep the bar. The bar is fine by itself, but they put like a little flag on here that again is like, hey, no employee. Hey, I don't have resources I need to run. Hey, my output is full. You know, like whatever failures can happen. I'm damaged. Whatever is that. I would like to see that to make it a little bit more intuitive. The tutorial definitely needs some serious work. So it's a bit shallow, but for me, the art style prevents me from getting hooked. The art style prevents you from getting hooked. Interesting. I actually really like the art style. But, you know, to each their own. There's some people who don't like the pixel art and all that stuff. But regardless, I think that's what we're going to call it on that one. Because, again, it is the demo. I'm not really motivated to put in a huge amount of time on a demo because I know I can't finish it. But I would say overall, this has been the one that's been more kind of... There's a lot of potential in there. There's a lot of good in there. But there's a lot of problems too. That I hope to see that improve. But the overall premise of the game is really cool. I do think the tutorial is very front-loaded and all the stuff you have to set up just to even move the train. Whereas, like I said, they could very easily limit it where your train only has so much fuel, and they get you getting the train running right away, move like one spot, and then the train, you know, is out of fuel, and then you have to go through a whole bunch to like get everything stabilized for your people on it, and yada yada. So, you know, you move the train, then you kind of fill in all those supporting roles that you need. I think that would be a much better approach where you kind of take the tutorial in chunks, and not wall of text us. So with that said, so let's see, we've got about, what? A little over 2 hours left on stream. So first, if you're over on the YouTube side is going to come down because we are switching categories. I'm just waffling about what I want to do. If I want to just go in the Stardew Valley and just enjoy my run in a game I know, or if I want to do another demo. I think I'll do one more demo. Because 2 hours also doesn't feel like that much time to jump into. Yeah, no, I think I'll do one more demo. This will be our demo day for Steam Next Fest. And like I said, we end up having like a demo that kind of percolates out that people are like, oh no, you gotta check out this demo. It's not that I'm against going for another demo, but I don't think I'm gonna go out of my way to do more demos for this Steam Next Fest. It can be just kind of a little tiring. You'll probably notice my voice is getting a little bit rough. Because when we're doing a lot of these demos, I end up having to like read all of this stuff out more and more and more. It's very dialogue heavy. There's a lot more of like sharing my thoughts and impressions and all that very steadily. So it's actually a lot more straining on me to do these demos as a content creator than normal. And today's been good, but a lot of times it can absolutely kill, like, today's been good, but I've definitely had variety days and demo days that have done really badly in the past. But this has been good. So the stream is going to end on the YouTube side. It's going to come down. I'll have to bring it back up in the new category. Yell at YouTube. I can't help you with that. I want YouTube to have it so I can go midstream saying we're switching categories, and it just creates a new video effectively in the new category. All the other stuff stays the same. Because if I could do that, I could switch categories and carry everyone forward, but that's just not how it works. Alright, so I'll see you in a few minutes, YouTube. And for everyone here, What game